Hello, hello, JJ DiGeronimo here. I'm super excited about today's podcast. As you know, I'm always searching for beautiful teachers that have done their own work, that have really spent the time digging in and cleaning out and creating space for what is next. And Majo is joining me today. She's a somatic coach. And what I love about her story is that many of the women that she serves are people that looked like her years ago and people that might feel stuck or not sure where they are in their journey. And her work really brings them to the next stage. So, Majo, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, JJ. I'm excited to be here.
This is so great. So, talk to me a little bit about maybe we'll start off with, talking about the body. How do you view the body in the
Mm,
work that you do?
I love starting that way. So, the body is the foundation of everything I do. It's like the place where I focus on. And that's essentially what differentiates my work from everything most smart women out there are doing, which is working with their mindset, working on, therapy, journaling, affirmations, mindset work. I know it because I've been there, and it's a lot of like heady things. Whereas in my work, it's very much we ground you in your body, and we work with the felt senses, your sensations, your everything from the neck down, as well as your head, of course, but like in a very integrative way.
I love that because I know exactly what you're saying. Like you can try to think your way out of the box, but the reality is your body's holding the message, right? You have an ache in your hip, your ankle doesn't work, your indigestion is off, and really finding like where you're holding the energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of that, and also like it's fascinating actually when you learn to listen and when you learn to tune in. You learn that sometimes it's like your mind has its own little agenda and its own little things, whereas opposed to your deeper self in your body, it has like the real true information, the things that you wanna, your real goals, the things that you really feel passionate about, like what's really in your path next. And these are the kind of things that when we're so focused on mindset work, we entirely miss.
Mm. So you're saying like your body holds the messages.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Mm.
saying that it can be tricky, especially for people who've been like through trauma and some sort of like tricky experiences, which I know I have, and a lot of women, especially the ones I work with, have. But like it's a journey of learning to discern that language and like learning to speak your body's language until you get clear on, okay, this is a message coming from an old story versus a message coming from something right now, and learning to like listen and then follow.
That is so beautiful. So tell me where you're located right now and what really launched you into this work.
So I'm based in Madrid, Spain. And yeah, I've been here for almost a year now. And it's actually very much part of my journey. So I love it. It's been like I moved here because of a gut feeling. And it's essentially, well, because I was in an emotionally abusive relationship just like almost 2 years ago, I would say, not even that. And when things finally started to crumble in that relationship, it was like, um, and just as a background to this, I had been doing like all the work, you name it. I was doing all the work, all the mindset with the therapy, everything throughout my 20s, and yet I still had this very like painful love life, as well as chronic low self worth and a very bad body image. And like it all led to this emotional abusive relationship. And when it finally crumbled, I was living in London at the time, and I was like, okay, something told me this is it. That's one of those moments where you just like rock bottom low. And I decided to follow my gut for the first time ever, probably, and that led me to somatics. That led me to pursue a certification in somatic sex and relationship coaching, and then another one in body oriented coaching, and to move countries. So that's why I'm in Spain now instead of the UK.
Wow, that's very powerful. It's powerful to know that when you were at rock bottom, which I think a lot of women have hit at different times, that you were able to pick yourself up and shift. So, do you feel like all the work that you had done at that point gave you the strength, or where do you think that you found the strength to shift?
I think it was just, I had done so many things throughout my like 10 years of personal work, and like I just felt like I was constantly, it felt like I had an invisible glass ceiling that I just didn't know how to stop bumping against. And it was just, I knew I wanted something different. I had no idea what somatic meant at that time. And I think it's those kind of things that you just do like almost blindly. I was like, okay, I feel like I need to become a coach to be, first of all, get better in my own love life, in my own relationships, and then maybe help others someday. And it's funny because I'm not a relationship coach right now. I'm like a coach for women. But that all happened because of my personal journey. And so, sorry, JJ, I think I lost track of the question. Can we
I love
unlock?
that. You're just kind of talking about how you get the strength. And I think just doing the work, it sounds like you did 10 years of the work and you finally were like, I need to break through this door. And I think that's so powerful because I feel like a lot of people, when they hit a crossroads, if they haven't done the work, they're kind of like, I don't know who I am or why I'm here and what I'm doing. And the fact that you did the work, you kind of are like, I need to lean into something that's calling me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Even though I had no idea what that was, and even though it was at the time something entirely different, I mean, but the journey has been changing a lot. But it was just, and it's still this thing of like, okay, I'm kind of afraid of it. Like, every time I go deeper into something in my work, it's like, okay, oof, this feels like edgy, but it's about learning to lean in. And I think if it wouldn't have been for somatics and learning to like be with my powerful self while I'm in those moments of fear and being terrified essentially, sometimes I wouldn't be able to be where I am now. So it's all thanks to somatics and my body connection essentially.
I want to dive into that, but I just want to acknowledge you for your honesty. I think a lot of people think that people that are in this type of industry that do wellness, that do the energy practices, that they got there because they just took a couple classes. But
Ah,
most of the people that I
yeah.
interview here on Together We Seek podcast, they've done the heavy lifting. They've been in the gutter. They've had to drag themselves out of the bed. They've had to align with different types of teachers until they were able to clear the energy that's no longer serving. And so, somatic, tell us a little bit about what that is and how you feel like that was part of your bridge.
Yeah. So somatic essentially, it comes from the Greek soma, and it just means body, like very simply, but especially in relation to the mind. So especially in relation to being body based as opposed to mind based, which our culture is very heavy. We very heavily rely on the mind. We're very like linear, logical, rational. And in somatics, we want to like break that and like bring back the body into the conversation, almost like a storyteller. So, as opposed to sitting there in a 1 hour of therapy and like just talking your problems out and like analyzing and like, we're very good at that as women. This is like, let's bring your body's intelligence into the room and see what's actually there.
So, how does that happen? So, you can do it remotely, you can do it in person, but like you're breathing to the depths that you allow to release, or how, if someone who doesn't know what it is, how do you describe it to people?
I describe it as a very experiential practice in which there is a lot of spaciousness, breath involved. So it's very much like, sometimes it's like practicing. Like, for example, if there's something if you struggle with boundaries in your life, we can even do like a little rehearsal, like a somatic rehearsal, where I go like, okay, if you are struggling your boundaries with your mom, then I would like act out, quote unquote, your mom. And then we would like see in the relational field what emerges, meaning between you and I in this moment, as you think about your mom and your boundary issues with her. And it's amazing because a lot of things live in this really like invisible relational field between us, even if I'm not your real mom. But like these things emerge. And yeah, we can even use objects sometimes, or just our bodies. And it's very yeah, like almost recreating real life, your real life issues in the session, as opposed to just talking about them.
Yes. And for those of you that haven't done these types of energy sessions, this type of work actually like unlatches, or I always think of it like thread around sort of parts of my bones, that I start to let that thread go and loosen up that energy so that it can be grounded.
I love that visual.
Yes, because and sometimes like I'll lay there and I'll think of the threads and I'll use breath and to work with different energy practitioners. And sometimes, I'm pouring, crystalline water on it to allow that thread to dissolve. And I feel like I wrote 3 chapters about mothers, not because I love my mother and she's wonderful, but the relationship with the mother is really intense. And oftentimes it goes way past your mother. It's your mother's mother's mother energy that comes through. And, I've done many, many meditations of letting the mother line go, letting the energy of the mother line be healed, letting the energy of the father line. So having a one-on-one experience has to be so powerful.
Oh, I love that. And I think especially as women, our feminine lineage plays such a huge role. And like it's incredible to see how all of the threads are connected. People come to me with, you say, body image issues, but then that's connected to the feminine health, or in how they show up in love. And like many times these things go back to their relationship to their mom. Something as quote unquote basic as food is so deeply connected to how you were held and nurtured as a child. And like, yeah, what you mentioned of like healing that line is really, really, really important.
And are the women that work with you, are they surprised on what comes up and the freedom they eventually tap into?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. It's quite beautiful to watch and to witness and to be a part of that. Um, there's a lot of energy that can finally go places. A lot of when there's a lot of shame and when there's a lot of repression, it's like unlocking energy and like letting it go to other places where they can actually use it to thrive, towards their creativity, their empowered boundaries in their relationships. So there's a lot about like unleashing forces.
And that's so good. It's so good. And I feel like so many women, I mean, similar to my work, is all about just giving them permission to lean into what they already know is so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like almost remembering who you are and your power more than discovering.
That's the truth, the remembering piece. And so, how has your journey come along?
Um, well, how was my journey until this point, you mean?
Yeah. So, once you left London and you came to Spain, like, how was your journey unfolded?
Oh, right. Well, it's been honestly the best journey of my life. I always say this about somatics and like my new career path essentially as a coach. And yeah, it's like the thing that I used to think that love and relationships were the thing that really cracked me open the most. And they were in a way, but like now being in this journey of like building my coaching business at the same time, as it's like you cannot take people to places where you haven't been yourself. So I keep on going those places myself, and it's very challenging sometimes. So it's a really, yeah, it's been the journey that has cracked me open the most. I think even more than love and relationships, and those were tough for me. But yeah, this has been an amazing, incredible journey of growth. And I love this quote from one of my teachers, which is like, a lot of women out there, we're like empowered caterpillars, and this work was the thing that actually took me to like the butterfly stage, and finally feeling like the butterfly. It's very fulfilling.
I bet it is. I bet it is. And I think a lot of women, and you may or may not associate with this, but I think a lot of women don't feel worthy. They don't feel worthy to lean into what is calling them. And so, how have you really sort of adjusted your mindset with somatic?
Yeah, I mean, a huge part of my personal journey and of what I help women with is actually that sense of self-worth and not feeling good enough and worthy of the things you want in life. And with somatics, the problem is not that you feel unworthy, because that obviously comes from like some part of you in the past, like your inner child, or in my case, my self. But like the thing is not that you have this feeling of unworthiness, but that you are unable to connect to the powerful part of you at the same time. So like to bring her into conversation and to like integrate and have them meet. And that is what working with your body and through your body allows you to do, like have them both sit at the table and have your powerful part be like, I can mother you, I can be there for you. And that's when little by little you're like, okay, I feel this unworthiness, I feel this, but like because I'm with my powerful self as well, you can move past it.
That is so beautiful because I think of that as the bridge, right? So you can visualize all parts of yourself sitting at that table and bridging the energy of the powerful self, the person that still feels like there's gaps. And how do you bring that energy together so that people have the, I want to say self worth is what came to mind, self worth to lean into what is possible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because then you discover it's really not about, this perfection and like self love all the time, but actually just doing that exercise already, that's telling your system and your body, like, we're worthy of this. Like, we are, yeah, we're worthy of being in doing this for ourselves. And that already like rewires you.
Mm. I always tell women it's really a lot of times it's just about showing the universe that you're investing in yourself. And so
Oh,
some women will say, oh, that retreat is too much or that practitioner is too much. And I'm like, well, that's really subjective. Too much is subjective. Yes, there are different levels of practitioners, different price points, but the reality is at some point you have to lean into yourself. And if leaning into yourself means visiting with somebody or going to a class or going to a retreat, you're really showing the universe that you're worthy of the outcome, whatever that's going to bring wherever you are in your journey. So for somebody listening that's listening and saying, I could probably lean more into my more powerful self. I probably need that bridge to get more emotionally, spiritually, and cognitively connected. What is something they can start doing to start listening to their body or learning more about your work?
yeah, I can actually share one of my favorite practices that I think are like, very quick. And that's the thing I use. Like, it's my go to lean into my powerful self when I feel triggered or activated. And it's essentially, of course, this is the kind of thing you need to do when you're not triggered and activated so that you can actually access it when the moment comes. So it's about practicing when you're feeling calm and regulated. So connect, I mean, it's just about like bringing into your awareness, like your sensation, a time where you felt really capable, really resourced, really creative, really powerful, and like have that feeling, like bring that JJ into the space right now and like breathe through her pores and like inhabit her skin. And as you do this, do a movement with your body, like a physical actual movement. I like putting my hands on my hips like this, and like that becomes your anchor. And really just feel into this anchor of the powerful you, and know that that's available for you every single second of the day. And once you're connected to her, that's it, right? But when the time comes, when the difficult time comes and you're feeling like the nervousness or the, oh, I'm feeling not enough, not worthy, whatever it is, you do your anchor, you do the physical movement, and you bring her back in, you bring her back online. And that's one of the easiest, most powerful ways to bring your powerful self into the picture. One of my favorite practices, and a very quick one to integrate into your daily life.
I felt that. I felt that really strongly. And what came up for me, the part time that I remember feeling so powerful, I would have never even thought that would be one of my top choices. But
Yeah.
as you started to describe, when is the time you've been most powerful? Right away, I got a work experience that was probably a decade ago. And I literally was in a conference room and I saw myself like leaning into that energy and really creating that energy all around me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And that's exactly the thing with this work, right? That if I ask you, your mind just mentally, you would be like, oh, sure, that time when I was doing that. But like your body has the real information.
Yes, I love that. Your body has the real information. And I think having people like yourself on the planet that helps people really lean into these experiences gives us confidence and also allows us to tap into energy that's already there.
Yeah. So
Mm.
much in the relational field that we can leverage as women.
Yes. And so I'm so glad you've done the work. I'm so glad you listened to your inner voice. I'm so glad you leaned into your whisper and changed countries and took up that class because, like you said, you'd been doing the work for a long time before this work presented itself. And I don't believe in accidents. I feel like, as everyone says, right, the teacher appears when the student is ready. And I feel like for those of you listening right now, if this is really resonating with you, to check out the links below, to visit your website, and just really get to learn more about your work, because I feel like in just such a short time, I have already felt a shift.
Oh, amazing. I love hearing that, JJ. Thank you so much for giving me this space to share a little bit with you.
Well, great. Well, I hope you join our community. Together We Seek Online. I'm super grateful for everyone who listens in and leaves comments and shares it with their friends. This work is here for us to lean into, to help us remove the energy that's no longer serving us and create space for the whispers. And those whispers are ready for us. They're ready for us to lean into our higher self. And working with energy practitioners, healers, and light workers are really the gifts that allow us to unwrap many of those whispers. So if you're inclined, please reach out. We really appreciate you listening, and we hope that you are seeking and remembering who you really are. With that, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again here. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me, JJ. It was really fun.